Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Wakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders for preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered to the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. I say shalom to your Akim out there. And this is a recent news article from RT.com. This is as of February 21st, 2023. In the category of business news, the financial category from RT.com, alternative world news, and it reads, U.S. dollar to lose global dominance. Putin says the Russian president says Moscow will cooperate with its partners. And we already know who those partners is: Russia, China and Iran. It says the Russian president says Moscow will cooperate with its partners to develop a safe system for international settlements. Right, and that comes along with the United States use economic sanctions against Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea. So now you have these countries are turning away from the American dollar, as the American dollar is going to be soon to be devalued, very soon. And we seeing more indication signs of that as these news articles starting to come out and progresses on, And I'm going to read it. It says the U.S. and other Western currencies will inevitably lose their leading position in the global cross-border transaction, Russian President Vladimir Putin said on Tuesday, delivering his annual address to the Federal Assembly. Head of state said that the Moscow would cooperate with its allies to build a secure system of international settlements that are not depending on the dollar or the euro. Right, so these countries are turning away from the United States dollar and the euro dollar as well too. It says, according to Putin, the current policies of the Western states are causing the U.S. dollar and the euro to lose their universality in the international payments. He explained that Russia's former Western partners are forcing Moscow to cut settlements in dollars and other Western currencies. It says in December, Putin stated that the shares of ruby transactions in the Russian foreign trade has doubled since the beginning of 2022, and now accounting the 1/3 of the country's settlement. He projected that the use of the national currency in place of the U.S. dollar and the euro in trade with Russia's international partner would continues to grow. The process of de-dollarizing the Russia economy started back in 2014 when the Western nations introduced the initial sanctions against Moscow over Crimea reunification with Russia, which has formerly part of Ukraine. Sanctions imposed since the start of the military operation in Ukraine has sped up the process, particularly after a $300 billion in Russian foreign exchange reserve and other assets were frozen by the United States and its allies. So, right, that's why you seeing now you're starting to see a reverse turn of these nations got hit with these hard economic sanctions with the United States and the allies as well too, from the Western countries of the United States that's allies with them together. Now you're starting to see the countries like Russia and China starting to have an economic alliance between one another, from energy, gas, trading, exchange between one another. Now they building up economic ties of currency between both one another, Russia and China, and Iran as well too. So now you're starting to see these countries turning away from the American dollar, the U.S. dollar, or the euro dollar as well too. So now you're starting to see the United States as being a top currency reserve. That's starting to be out of the picture now. as it's starting to show its value to not be well known, not no more around the world. You know, the U.S. dollar is not going to be pinned on as a top current reserve currency. Now it's starting to slowly decrease. So as it's stated right here, it says the U.S. dollar to lose global dominance. Right, the U.S. dollar is slowly but surely losing its global dominance as a top currency reserve of the U.S. dollar, greenback dollar. So that's showing you more signs and signs now more than ever. That shows you that the value of the American dollar, of the U.S. dollar, of the greenback of the U.S. dollar is not a top dominant global reserve, not no more. Especially in the eyes of these other countries. So that's why you're seeing these nations are turning away and not pending on the euro dollar or the United States dollar as well too. That shows another clear sign of the fall of modern day Babylon. And this is a prime example right here that show you the fall of modern day Babylon, especially on economic sense. This is Revelations 18:2. And he cried with a mighty strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is falling and is falling, and is becoming habitations of devils, ultimate deceivers, and the whole of every foul and the whole of every foul spirit, and a cage of unclean for hateful bird. And I believe it's Jeremiah 51. And let me scroll through it. Yep, here it go right here. Yep, Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that had made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, and therefore the nations are mad, right? And that's a prime example of these nations. They've been filled the drunk of the wine. They've been drunken of the ways and philosophies and the economic customs and the ways of Western society. And they've been putting their trust in this Western society. They've been putting their trust in the economics of the global currency. Now these nations are mad and they're turning away from the American dollar and the euro dollar. So that's why we stand on the economic sense. We're starting to see spiritually modern day Babylon falling from an economic sense. Now we're starting to see slowly but surely that the U.S. dollar is continually to be deteriorated, to continue to be devalued, around the world, And it's going to be like that in modern day Babylon here as well, too. Of the collapse of the euro and the United States dollar, mostly particularly the U.S. dollar, And I'm going to read it again. Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. Right, the nations are mad. They're turning away from modern day Babylon. They're not following the Western mindset and not depending on the American dollar. So they're turning away from that. They're coming up with their own currencies, like rubies, silver, and gold, exchanged for transactions. And now they're building economic allegiance with these other nations, economic security, economic allegiance, and economic military assistance from Russia and China, and the likes of Iran and Russia as well too. So these nations that I just mentioned, the Russias, China, Iran, North Korea, that got hit hard with these economic sanctions. So they drunk the wine of modern day Babylon. They've been drunken off that. Now the nations are mad. They're turning away from that. They're turning away from that Western mindset. They're turning away of depending on the reserve of the American dollar or the euro dollar. So these are prime examples. Jeremiah 51:8. Babylon is suddenly fallen, and destroyed. Halt for her, take bond for her pain. If so, she may be healed. Right, there's no healing for modern day Babylon, especially on the economic sense. Right, with the crash and the continued devalue of the American dollar, we seeing increasing signs of that. Jeremiah 51:9. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go, and every one into his own country. For her judgments reach unto the heavens and lift even up to the skies. Right. So it's being judged, especially on the economic sense, with the continued devalue of the American dollar, as the American dollar is not being a top current reserve, not anymore. So with that, I just want to bring out this sit down lesson that shows you especially on the economic sense, that modern day Babylon spiritually is definitely falling on the economic sense. As you see right here, the US dollar to lose global dominance. And that's what's actually happening. It's starting to lose its global dominance. The value of the greenback dollar, the value of the US dollar as a being a top currency reserve, now it's starting to lose its global dominance, as these other nations are not trusting in the US dollar no more as a top current reserve, as it continues to decline. That shows you more indications and more signs of modern day Babylon is definitely falling on the economic sense. So with that, I hope this sit down lesson was edifying of this recent news article from RT.com as of February 21st, 2023. So I would like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Makarkadash. Double honors to the elders for preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely as well too. And until next time, I will say shalom.